everybody taking dog tags. Dog, this is awesome, it's Optimus Prime, and your quadrant and talking, and you got that. I was in a mind when I crafted this. The Dungeon Master's wrath with a dash of sick. I dash like Sonic Mad, not a pacifist, but pacifist the tracks when I'm rapping, kids. We the last of us, the master race. Take him with a master hand, it's cancerous. I hit him with the master sword, and sure I make an eyesore, but I wonder how four guys make a Triforce.
Hey guys, welcome to the Trinity Force podcast. You're listening to episode number 160. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogswell, and as always, I am your host for this lovely evening. And you're driving to work, as you're working at work, as you're working out of the gym, and I'm yelling at you to tell move more quickly and faster. And yeah, that's my intro for this week.
Who'd you do that with?
Phoenix. No, Punch.
It was Punchinello. Punch was like, do I need to play this next one at the gym because Pone's gonna be yelling at me.
All right, yeah. Okay, I forgot about that.
You gotta pump him up. Come on, you can do it, Punch. Push,
Punch.
Sissy.
Lift it. 1, 2. So we can do it. I can do a workout tape. I'll scream at him. Hold it.
Style, right?
Hold
You want to look like Braum?
Yeah. Gotta go.
You want to look like Braum, or you want to look like Timo? Come on, push.
All right, I'm starting the bottom left since it's changed this week. Chira's with us.
Hi.
Hi, Chira. Can you show the crew out there in live land what they're missing?
I'm drinking out of this massive Stein.
That thing is awesome.
It's ridiculous. It's like 40 years old.
Did you fill it?
Oh, yeah.
Full?
Yeah. It's good.
A couple 7% truths. Why not?
Yep,
Wrong
that'll
guy's
do it.
truth. Dom is with
Made
us.
in China?
I am. I was distracted for a minute there, but I'm back.
Hi, Dom.
And I brought t-shirts for everybody.
We have
Oh, baby.
t-shirts?
Yes.
You know where you can get a t-shirt. Store.trinityforcepodcast.com.
I didn't
Really?
mean to, I didn't mean to softball that one to you, but I'm okay that it played out that way.
DeClaude is here.
Howdy.
Hi, DeClaude.
That's hello. Then again, that's store.trinityforcepodcast.com, not the T-Force like everything else is.
Yeah, everything else. Facebook.com/T-Force Podcast, Twitter.com/T-Force Podcast, and then it's
But all the websites are Trinity Force Podcast.
TrinityForcePodcast.com.
The stream, the store.
So I have one giant, huge piece of news that has nothing to do with Trinity Force Podcast, but it's actually really awesome. GG Chronicle is finally live.
Oh, shit.
Yay!
Finally, huh?
It's about time.
If you're listening
Nice.
Monday night, it's not live. However, if you listen any day after that, it is live.
God damn it.
That's the biggest troll shit I've ever heard.
Well, we have the majority. I would wager 99% of the listeners are MP3. They listen on Wednesday. We have like 100 on
right.
YouTube and like 30 to 50 that watch live. So
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's live now, but then I might be logged in to like post something because of editor.
So why did it take so long for someone to go on Microsoft front page and slap together a template for this website?
because I'm really bad with Microsoft Office tools, and that's why I don't have to do anything.
Oh, man, that was good, Nicolai.
Okay.
I like that one.
But yeah, guys, go check out ggchronicle.com. It's going to be your esports hub. We have the T-Force LCS rundown and all that to take care of it, but GG Chronicle is going to be this like Team Liquid style place. We have a giant forum that's heavily moderated that you'll be able to talk in. We're going to be doing approved articles from around the web, so if you're like checking out Rain Gaming and Cloth 5 and Mundoverse and all those websites that you really like to see articles from, we'll be cross-posting those on GG Chronicle. So you guys get like a little snippet, and you guys can go out and read the actual article. So it'll be a great place to find those without having to wade through a whole bunch of Riot please, oh my god, nerf this champion, why is the client not updated? Bullshit that Reddit has to do.
We'll also be doing our own content. We got
Lots
people
of
doing
awesome good content.
analysis. We got match reviews. We got match previews, probably.
Yes.
Probably.
We have a bunch
Everything you need to become a better player and to be more involved in the game you love.
Well, this is really we're very much esports based. Like, this is the reason the Trinity Force podcast is not like the official podcast of it anymore, is because we're not an esports based podcast. We are out here to help you guys get better. And tonight, by the way, we're going to be talking listener questions. So we will talk Braum on Wednesday. We haven't had a chance to play him yet because most of us have 40-hour week jobs and get home at like 5 o'clock and then have to do the podcast. So
Yes. There was no time.
two more announcements real quick for this week. Guys, don't forget to go check out the OzLOL podcast. They were doing a fantastic job over there. They've hit a huge listener spike recently. They're covering the oceanic scene and the oceanic professional scene very well. So those guys have been doing a fantastic job.
And I heard they drink Foster's because that's Australian for beer.
Australian for beer. I can't do
On
it.
Twitter today, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That actually came up like That was brought up by
Adam
by
brought it
Lee.
up.
Well, because I have to. I'm going. Okay, so
And he's like, what the
spoiler
hell's
alert.
Foster's? And I'm like, it's Australian for beer.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, I'm coming on the Ozzy podcast this week, and I have to skip pint night to do it. So
So you're gonna.
I asked him, I said, I asked him something about beer, and I said, well, do I have to drink Foster's? They're like, what the fuck is Foster's?
That's because it's cooler. Foster's is Coors, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think something like that. So, one other thing, guys, don't forget to help us out with Audacity, Audible. It is audibletrial.com/TForce podcast. Oh, and the May 22nd tournament. You only have like 2 weeks left to sign up for that. It's not very long. We have quite a number of people already signed up. Go sign up for that, you guys. It is tinyurl.
Including this week.
Yeah,
Next
tinyurl.com/TForce podcast. Or, sorry, tinyurl.com/TForce tournament. You can go find that on the website. There's a big banner on top. You can go click on that as well. So, guys, go sign up for that with Victorious Gaming. And that is all the announcements that I have for this week.
Wait, I got one more.
Okay.
Because we got a lot of new listeners lately. Guys, join the in-game chat channel T-Force.
Good call.
Oh, that was good.
Oh yes, I was playing a game. I played a ranked game this weekend, and my team was doing horribly. I was Jungle Pantheon, and I kept coming in and getting kills. I was 5-0, and I went on some kind of a rampage and announced me, and all of a sudden, one of the enemies in all caps, like, "Oh shit, D-Claude from the Training Force podcast! Holy shit!" I was like, "Yeah, that's me." He's like,
How'd it
"Awesome, I
feel?
love the show." I'm like, "Sweet, I'm glad you love the show." And then their team continued to kick our ass, and they won. But I told him to join the in-game channel T4, so he joined it. Now he's on auto join. Getting viewer or listeners out there
It's a
piece
Monday
by
night.
piece.
We
I
have
guess when we run into them, we
132.
tell them to go there. So I'm glad you announced that, Dom.
Dom, what are we at? Dominate Gaming. How many they got in their channel right now?
They got 159.
Damn it, we're so close, guys.
We need 20 more
to
people.
beat
We're
them.
always like just a little bit behind them, and there's been one time at some weird ass fucking hour where we had more people in our channel than theirs, but every other time I've gone, they've always just been a little bit ahead of us.
You know what's weird? Some people don't know how to join channels because, there's no real reason to join a channel if you're just playing. So in the lower right, there's a little chat bubble in the middle of the three icons in the bottom right. Just click on that chat bubble. Then there's a little plus chat bubble at the bottom of that window. Click it, type in T-Force, bam, enter the channel. Then there's a gear in the upper right. You click that and click auto join on startup, and then
You're always
it'll
joining
forever
the channel.
join automatically.
It's-
But if you close the window, you got to do it again. So
And it's T-Force, no space.
right, T-Force, all run together.
Well, fantastic, guys. Like I said earlier, we're going to talk about Braum on Wednesday when we actually have a chance to play him. We know he just hit live servers at like 3 o'clock this afternoon, but we are going to try to jump on and play him some more often and talk about it. The early thoughts on him is he's quite powerful, and we will confirm or deny that on Wednesday.
So far, he's brominating his lane.
He is brominating. That's right.
Not even mad. I'm so happy this champion's out. I don't even care.
Good. Brom nom nom nom.
God, it's
Yeah,
like
I-
Dom doesn't even update this document. There's still 4.7 patch notes in here.
He's okay with my puns.
He's
What are you
okay with
talking
the
about?
What the hell's
puns.
wrong with him?
Jesus Christ.
Where's the 4.7?
I just deleted them.
Oh.
Where'd they go?
Okay, so let's talk general questions. This is a whole listener mailbag episode, and yeah, let's
Nice.
get into it.
All right, what do we got?
So Volcano Techie, who wrote to us after the fact and said, "Fuck you, Adam. My name is awesome. I hate you." Reckles made a post a while back describing his rune changes. He has been running 2 attack speed quints, 1 attack damage quint, and mixed HP and armor yellows. He gives up double-edged sword in his masteries for Butcher and Feast. What do you guys think of this change? Do you feel the attack speed quints are what's bringing low attack speed ADCs such as Graves to light?
Regarding Graves, no. He just got some buffs to him that finally made him
They were mana tuning, right?
Yep.
and damage. He got a little bit of damage.
Yeah,
at
his
it.
mana management's God.
That was the issue. You'd use like a E and 2 Qs, and you'd be for the next 4 levels.
And he's fine. I don't think nothing about Graves strikes me as overpowered or anything like that. Maybe I just haven't seen enough of him, but
No,
he's Graves. He's hard to kill. It's kind of how he's always been.
Right.
And like the last place you want to be is right in front of him at the start of a fight. 'Cause,
the attack speed quints though are very efficient as far as what they gain for your character. So I kind of like the idea of 2 and 1. I never thought about it that way. Throw in the 1 AD quint.
That's
gave
what I'm running right
2.25.
now on most of my champions. I think Graves and Misfortune are the only ones I'm not running those attack speed on because I want the raw AD for their abilities.
Right.
So I can go full in more quickly. Because Graves, for example, well, Graves and Misfortune both gain attack speed off of individual skills.
Abilities.
Right. So to me, there's not really any reason to run that extra attack speed unless you're looking to push the lane earlier. You need to be able to CS a little bit better. Maybe. I mean, you could make a case for it.
Yeah,
Graves,
but you know what?
Graves' wind-up is bad.
And you know what? He has to use his escape to get that attack speed, so you kind of hold on to it usually. So it would work on him, I think.
That's what I'm saying. There's a case for it on Graves or Misfortune where you might want that extra attack speed if you feel like you're going to be pushed a little bit harder. But somebody like Kog'Maw, Vayne, Caitlyn, for example, Varus, Lucian, all that, could run the attack speed because they get more out of it than, say, Graves and Misfortune do.
I don't play a lot of marksman. I don't play a lot of anything other than support. Let's be real here. I did, but the first thing I did once Reckless posted those rune pages is went and changed mine to that because it made a lot of sense. Everybody I've talked to was like, yeah, it seems pretty like a pretty good way to do it. So I have one with that and then one with a little bit of mana regen in there in case I play like Ezreal or some shit.
Or Graves. Because his mana still sucks.
Or Graves.
By the way, with Brahm's passive, you think the attack speed would be even better if you're running with Braum, and maybe in your combo.
Well, I think Graves is going to be Graves specifically. I think is interesting with Braum since he can they can both just pick a fight and then get in there on that shit.
Since they can both be tanky as fuck and
and not die.
Yeah, but Mustache run those quints when leaning with Braum.
I'm gonna put this down.
No.
Thank you for breaking it. All right, I can see it working.
Oh,
Right.
I hated that. I hated every second of that.
But speaking of mixed HP and armor yellows, I think, again, you know what's great about runes now? We've talked about this before, and it's kind of the whole Volcano Techie's question is, it really depends on the lane you're playing against and what your goal is for that lane. If your goal is to go full-on heavy, take somebody out, you might want to run that full AD over the attack speed. Or if you're playing someone like Caitlyn, you want to get more headshots, you might run around a little more attack speed than what you do AD. You have to decide what you want to do in that lane. But for an overall catch-all page, because I would say the majority of players in League don't own 20 rune pages. They probably own, 6 to 7? I would say it's
that.
If that, right.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised if the majority of the player base has more than 5.
Yeah, there you go.
I own 14 just so it wouldn't entice me to spend RP to buy the 7 bundle. So
Jesus.
I own all 20, but it's because I bought them a long time ago, and I spent a ton of money in this game. And I don't even use all 20 anymore. I think I use 3 pages total, and then I have mixed pages for random stuff, and I hardly ever get to play the random stuff.
Yeah, I have 5 support pages and then the other 15 dedicated to various things that I almost never use because...
You never play anything with support?
No, why would I play anything other than support? It's the best role. It's a lot of fun. And it's got the newest champion, so fuck all y'all.
But yeah,
channeling my inner Sean there.
oh y'all.
Fuck you, you're bad, and you
I want to
feel
see
bad.
you play some Braum. I want you to practice like hell.
I intend to. I don't have shit going on tomorrow after work, so I think it's going to be
Nice.
Braum time.
Right, I'll play with you, Dom. I'm here. I'll play.
We're gonna have to do team builder though.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
Hey,
yeah.
as long as you have a support, Team Builder goes much faster.
Not today though,
I bet not today.
except for today.
But yeah, Volcano Techie, if you're running anything, I'd say all those pages. It's a good page. It's basic to use. You run Butcher and Feast because you gave up the LS quints that you had before they made the rune pages. You would run a couple lifesteal quints, and now Butcher and Feast gives you that life back.
Do we want to touch on the
Right, while you're
Korean
CS.
pages we looked at?
It wasn't the rune pages, it was the masteries.
Yeah, the masteries. I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Most of the Korean masteries were for trading in lane because they took Blade and Spellweaving and did not take Warlord. Is that the name of the mastery? The 5% AD?
Yes,
yeah,
that's
find
correct.
that page.
They do not take Warlord.
Yeah, like nobody takes Warlord anymore for 5%.
And
bonus AD.
I mean, it makes sense because even if you had 400 AD, the difference wasn't that big for
Yeah,
other
it
things
takes
you could
a-
spend 3 points on.
Yeah. I mean,
Is
you
the
just...
thing.
5% more bonus AD. Like, it sounds really good, but it's kind of a trap. I mean, it's the same reason why you don't take enchanted armor. It's just because it takes so long for you to get...
Or the bonus
level-
HP one. I don't like the bonus HP one either. That's like running bonus HP runes.
I mean,
What, the
if
3% maximum health in Juggernaut?
if you
I
had
don't
like
mind. I don't mind
300
that because that's your like 1 point wonder in
Well,
that.
yeah, it's because of how many points you got to spend to it. It's the same thing with Blade and Spell Weaving. You're only spending 2 points to gain 3% damage on your auto attacks and your spells. Unlike Warlord, where you're spending 3% just to
to
gain,
get its effect.
right,
to get its
3
effect.
points.
It's the
3
same thing
points.
with Juggernaut. It's 3%
That's the thing,
is
if-
1 point.
If you have 300 AD, your damage goes up by 15 with that 5%. That's nothing.
Yeah,
like 15 damage
AD.
isn't going to be the make or break when you have that much AD anyway, you know? If
and
you have,
and it takes so
Well,
long
in the
before you
beginning,
have
it's
300
really,
AD.
really good.
well, and
It's not though because you have
you
so
don't.
little
No.
attack damage.
You're right.
And it's bonus
It doesn't.
attack damage.
Right. It doesn't compound on it because you don't have that much to begin with. But
right.
I play Pantheon and I try to scrape every last piece of AD out of the bottom of that barrel.
I would consider Blade and
Well-
Spell
really
Weaving because you're going to end up doing more damage with that. Because
That's
Oh, I
absolutely
have that.
it. It's
Okay.
it's the
I have
3
that anyway.
points that goes into getting a bonus 15 AD when you could be spending those 3 points on something else that's probably going to be much better.
But there isn't anything else that's going to be
Well,
much
you could
better when
put
you're running
in
mostly
Feast,
offense.
Feast, Dangerous Game. Dangerous Game is actually pretty good on Pantheon. 5% missing health and mana on to gain on a kill because Pantheon usually walks out of fights, a little rough, depending on how the gate came out.
Yeah, I don't know. It's usually you go in there that you bust your nut and you die, or you flash out of there, or you Guardian Angel and buy more time for your team to do something while you come back up and die again. It's not gonna. The 5% is not gonna make or break, and I'd rather have that scaling additional AD each time I buy an item. It makes it
See, I don't feel
that
like
much
I
better.
don't like the scaling additional AD on Pantheon because you're not building a lot of AD on him. You're building more armor pen than anything else because you're going Brutalize or
me.
Last Whisper into defense for the most
You know,
part.
I build defensive item second, so you don't really notice it until after you get that second defensive item. Like you get your Elder Lizard. This is Jungle Pantheon, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
And
thinking
then-
Blade Pantheon too.
And then you get a piece of armor or a piece of Negatron Cloak, piece towards the Guardian Angel, depending on how much damage you're taking. But if you're kicking ass, you get that Brutalizer. And then you
I
get the
think we're
Brutalizer,
looking here,
Elder
though-
Lizard, and
With these arguments,
Look pretty good.
Both sides, I can see both sides, but I think we're looking at either early game or late game with Pantheon because late game Warlord is going to do, it's going to add that extra. 50. What did you say? 15 damage.
If you have 300 AD, it's 15 damage. So I mean, it's like what, a bonus
Yeah,
20
it's-
damage. If you had 400 AD, it's not that much.
In my
I know
opinion, I'd
you
rather
look at it
dump
like
those
that,
3
and you're like,
points into
man,
something else.
3 points. But then you need 3 points to get to the next one, and you're saying, okay, put one in Dangerous Game.
One dangerous
Well,
game.
I
one
mean,
already
you
have
could
double
also argue
Edge
you could
sword.
put those 3 points in some more of like the cooldown reduction from sorcery
or attack speed.
Right, attack speed.
Now, yeah, you could do the cooldown reduction sorcery. I don't have that on
Right.
Pantheon right now because I don't worry about
and
cooldown
I mean,
reduction
you
'cause
could
it's mana.
argue that if you did have the mana in a situation like that, getting off an extra spear would be way better than doing a bonus 75 damage after, or bonus like 45 damage after 3 hits. I
Right.
mean, it's a bonus 75 damage after 5 hits. What? It doesn't seem.
I'm
that
gonna
great.
mess with it right now and see. And yeah, it is the cooldown reduction. I like Frenzy.
Yeah,
just
see,
because
my
the
my
offense.
Pantheon page, my mid Pantheon page, has 4, 5, 7, 8 points in tier 1, for example, and then it's going all the way down to skipping Warlord because I just dump the extra points I have into that attack speed.
It's funny that we were talking about Dangerous Game because I really like Dangerous Game on people like Pantheon that can blow somebody up and then have the potential to blow up somebody else quickly thereafter, because that 5% heal can
Warlord.
be the
Dangerous Game, yeah.
for Dangerous Game, that 2 kills or barely
I think that
escaping
goes on a
after
lot of
killing
It's better on
somebody.
Assassins.
That's
you know.
exactly it. But I mean, a lot of people, at least recently, have been playing Pantheon more as like a burst assassin. Anyway, I like it on people like Akali, Jax. There's a couple people like that can do a lot with 5% extra.
Yeah, and it is nice, if you jump in with your ult, you become a target, and then you just barely get out, and someone else finishes the kill. You get that a little extra life when Ezreal's ult comes pushing in on you. Maybe it won't kill you. It's every little bit helps. I can be swayed on your argument. I'm going to try it without Warlord.
It's
So-
one of those masteries that looks really good. You think, oh man, 5% more attack damage, that's the shit. But it's bonus attack damage, and like going back to marksman, it's so long before that becomes a meaningful amount of attack damage that you have lost
Right.
a lot of damage from the earlier game. Because on marksman, you wouldn't be taking,
Well, it's still
three of
it's,
exposed weakness, spell weaving, and blade weaving.
I think you made the good point there. We weren't talking about that. Even though it's 300, Sean, for 15, it's 300 bonus attack damage
Right.
at 15. It's not 300 with your base.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not.
It was more
the
like
base 16.
you take it because you want to get to the next tier. But I agree, there can be other masteries.
Sometimes you just got to
get
dump
to
those
that
other
tier.
1-point wonders in there somewhere.
Right.
Give it a try. I would just say the overall consensus is Warlord not that great. Don't really take. It might not be worth it to take it because of our.
Yeah, I'm going to try without it. I'll do a try.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next question then, since we kind of beat
All right.
this one around.
Masteries
Thanks,
and
Volcano
runes, we
Techie,
beat
or
to death.
Volcano Techie, excuse me.
So yeah,
That's
Reckless
right, yeah.
has a good room page. Go with it. Move on.
Sorry, I lost you. No writes in. What do you do when you get zoned out at early levels and can't farm?
You zone them back.
QQ AFK.
You lie in your corner and you cry,
Yep.
and you blame the jungler for not ganking,
And then you kill yourself.
By the way, these are all things not to do in case there's any confusion. You can't hear the sarcasm. It sucks when you're zoned out early and can't farm. So just try to sneak in and out to get the XP when the minion's dying. Pay attention to the health bars, and hope they push into the turret a little bit, and ask for some help. And if you have teleport, let's say you're top lane, this is happening, you have teleport, maybe going back, grabbing an item, porting back to the turret can give you that little extra edge over him because he didn't back, maybe he doesn't have teleport. And maybe you can get in there and sneak a hit or two. Use your abilities to sneak farm. But
It's unfortunate because this is a case where one of two things happen. Either your opponent kind of hit a power spike and that's what's keeping you at bay, or you made some kind of critical mistake early enough on that, and you kind of put yourself in that position.
or the jungler jumped you and
Right.
you
There
had
is
to burn
no
flash to
good
get out of there.
way in this game to come back when you're being zoned. Let's put it that way. There's no magical thing we're going to tell you to suddenly make it so you're back into this game and you're Rise and you got shit on.
Just persevere.
It's one of
don't
those.
get
This is one of those things where you're in a position that's already like you're in a really bad spot. So it's sort of like triage everything and try to do everything you can to not get fucked even harder for this.
Yeah.
And the example I'm going to use for this is if you're playing somebody like Shyvana, who does a lot of AoE, and you're getting zoned out. We're just going to use this as an example. You get zoned out. Don't run up and don't fireball through a bunch of minions and W to push it back towards the person who's zoning you. You want the wave to continue
zoning
coming
yourself.
towards you. Yeah. You're basically making your situation worse without maybe knowing about it. You have to.
I mean, you basically want to keep it just outside of turret range,
Right.
But still within that safe territory that you otherwise have. I
there's
mean, and it's tough to
anything-
do. That's tough to do.
And you want to be able to
learn.
position yourself to use abilities so you can snipe CS while you can safely, so you're not in a bad situation to get engaged on and die.
If there's anything you learned, if you guys watch All Stars this weekend, they talked a lot about minion management. It's not something that has been brought up before this weekend, I don't think, maybe in OGN, but minion management is a huge portion to this game. Slow pushes, fast pushes, lane freezes, whatever it may be. And that's going to help you if you're on the other side of this, is learning how to freeze a lane and learning how to use minion damage to you, learning how to stop that wave so it doesn't go into your turret, whatever it may be.
I mean, I honestly can't tell you the number of times that I have won lanes or even won exchanges or even the lane because I baited out one hit from an opponent who then took so much damage from the minions because we made what we call the classic Victor mistake. And that's because my brother was notorious for picking fights when the opponent would have huge mini waves, and then we would die, and he wouldn't understand what happened. And I'd be like, "It's because you're starting fights when you have no business doing it." I mean, Adam, you've watched me a bunch of times not pick a fight when.
Oh yeah, I'll scream about
when
it.
you otherwise
when
ready
the
to.
minion.
He was ready to go.
something-
He's like, "Why isn't Tom going?"
Here's a little trick. when minions are attacking you, they're not attacking your minions. Same applies for your opponent. So if you can bait him to smack you with an auto attack, the minions will attack him, not their minions. Therefore, your minions aren't pushing anymore, and it gives you that little edge to get them to push back towards your turret. I'm a master at being behind in CS and losing lane, so I've learned a good way to to help manage that, so I can at least still win the game. It's like Ziggs. I play a lot of him in the mid. If you're losing lane, the way you snipe kills is using your bouncing bomb, which is AoE, which will push the lane. So you have to learn how to hit just the edge with your abilities. So just get really comfortable with your champion's abilities and watch those health bars. Click on the minion so you can see its actual health, and you can use that to make your
Trust me,
determination.
I know.
Figure out
attack.
Figure out what abilities don't draw aggro as well, like Olaf's Reckless Swing and other things like that
Right.
that you can use to trade and not get minions to turn around and fuck you up.
I'm the master of pushing my lane into them, and not, I'm the master of pushing my lane and continuously having my lane pushed because of how aggro I am. Like, I used to play Darius all the time, and it would always be Q, and I'd hit all the minions plus the person, and now my lane is pushing, you know?
Yeah.
You can't do that.
At least when you do that as Renekton, you heal yourself for more.
Yeah, at least
you hit
did
all the
something.
minions. The that's why I like Volibear too, is because if I fall behind and they're pushed to my turret, I can wait for that mistake, hang out by my minion that's on the edge of turret aggro, about to die, wait for him to come into that juicy bait, and then toss his ass at the turret.
That's with
blow
both
up
people.
and
That's
fight
like
himself.
Renekton and everything. You just know, if you know, that's one of the things that's always fun is if you count how many minions you have when they're getting shot by your tower, you can bait that person into trying to be more aggressive at you and stun them
Yeah.
under the turret as that last minion dies. And now they took in a couple tower shots.
Yep, and make sure that it aggroes him so that you get that advantage, and then all of a sudden you swing it back in your favor. So it's just a matter of don't go until. It's real easy to go until. Be like, oh my god, this is so frustrating, especially if they know what they're doing. They're spamming /laugh or /dance with Trundle. Look at me, I'm zoning your ass.
I want
Just
to
don't
point
let it
out
get you. That's the only
these
thing.
tactics are higher level play. If you are bronze and silver, minion management, while you should learn how to do it, is not the number one thing you should be focusing on right now. So I don't know, what is it named? No. I don't know what No's rank is, but no, if you are bronze 5 and worrying about minion management, or you're worrying about, getting zoned and stuff, more than likely the issue is with the way you played the lane or the matchup you picked, and not something else is a higher level. This is minion management, everything else we're getting into really starts to come into play at plat, I would say. I didn't really notice it until high plat when that really started to go against me.
The only other thing I could think to add to this is really start paying close attention to your mini map to see if there are ways where you can make a meaningful impact.
Yes.
Because your ward, your river ward caught the jungler going to your blue, and all of a sudden now you can collapse on that guy, and that'll help swing things in your advantage. Those types of things are ways that you can make a meaningful difference while still being behind. But again, you have to be attentive, and it's like they might not make that mistake. You're banking on them to do that. When you're zoned, and there's just not a lot you can do until you hit a power spike.
Yeah,
Exactly. Well said.
and someone mentioned in chat too. It's just if you can get a kill somewhere else. Let's say you do have the teleport, or if you're mid, you can roam somewhere, maybe help get an assist or a kill. That'll make up some of the gold you're losing on the minions.
Right.
So try to make something happen. Don't just sit at your turret and say, ugh, jungler, help. You don't want the jungler to help the other lanes.
Sit at your turret, just don't scream at the jungler to help. You
Yeah,
lost
you
your
want
lane,
them to help
you
the winning
picked the
lanes.
bad matchup, fucking deal with it. I played a game this evening. We're playing, okay, so Wrecker and I are playing on our Smurfs. I'm playing on GP Feed, and he's playing a little Wrecker around, and we're playing against silver and gold level people. A guy picks a bad matchup top lane, and all he did for the first 15 minutes was ping his tower every minute. Help. But he picked Gragas into J4. Like, he picked Gragas in the J4 and then lost his lane, because that lane matchup isn't going to win. You can't, if you picked a bad matchup and you're losing your lane, you can't scream for the jungler to help, because the jungler is doing something somewhere else.
Here's the other thing: even just if you think about it economically, if you're having a hard time, and another lane is succeeding because the jungler keeps going down there, you are probably better off if the jungler keeps focusing on the lane that's being successful, because the sooner that group of people can leave their lane, the more likely it is you are going to have the jungler plus somebody helping you out in your lane, rather than just the jungler trying to make a difference.
And that's a good take that as a positive, because there are games where every lane's going to be losing because your jungler's herbivore and their jungler's kicking ass, jumping lane to lane. And it's so easy to just go, oh, our jungler sucks. Resist the urge. Don't type it. You'll put him on tilt more. Maybe he'll come out of herbivore mode as beast who's going to kick ass and carry you to victory. Probably not. But, at least you have that hope you can cling to and just try to do your best to hold your own.
On the flip side of that, too, if your jungler is being counter-jungled and nobody's going to help him, it's also your fault that he can't come and help you as well. So another PSA
Resist the
to
urge
go
to
help.
last hit that minion.
Yeah. Go help your
instead of
jungler
just
if he
running
needs
immediately
it.
when he pings or when you see it. Yeah.
We know too much about this fucking game, guys.
And
Well,
these
we
things,
know everything. Let's quit.
just
Fuck.
watch.
Yeah.
That's a tough one because when you are behind,
It
you're
is.
concentrating on looking at the minion health and
I mean, it's a good
so
question
ping,
because you
ping if you're in trouble as the jungler, and then maybe you'll alert somebody.
feel shitty when you're zoned because ultimately, like, something worked against you here, whether you got ganked or you fucked up a
picked a
trade,
bad
whatever.
matchup, yeah.
They hit a power spike, but it feels shitty when you're in that situation. It's a good question. Unfortunately, we don't have an answer that's like a really feel good, hey, this is exactly what you do, and it's always going to swing it in your favor. Like, because, sorry, it just comes down to very specific case-by-case basis at this point.
I actually really like what you said about the ping thing, too, because we were in a game yesterday where we were 5 people on Skype together, but the call kept dying, and I died because somebody thought they were saying something to me and like communicating with me when I couldn't hear anything, and that could have all just completely changed if I would have just heard one little pinging noise.
Yeah.
So pings can be extremely helpful, and you should use them as much as possible because sometimes that little noise can be the difference between somebody looking down and reading that you're about to get ganked or anything else too.
And you know what? That's no excuse for lack of map awareness. But when you're doing shit, you're trying to help your team. You're not looking for reasons to blame them for something happening and say it's not my fault. Ping if you can. It takes a half a second. Bling.
Right.
You're done.
Hit your V button. Hold it down.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
All right. Thanks, Noah, for writing in. I appreciate you.
Good question.
Markin, he is next up. You write in. I feel like the support role impacts the game a lot more than a carry position.
Man
the
after my
T-Force
heart.
podcast has said the entire time we've been out. With all the gold that's being spewed out now, I feel the only true carry is AD carry. It seems
Yeah,
like
I thought that one, buddy. I'm sorry.
It seems like I can more directly swing the momentum of the game, setting up plays, peeling from ADC than I can by picking someone off as LeBlanc. Do you feel similarly?
So if you go to Reddit ever, or you listen to pro marksman interviews, everybody's always whining because they feel like AD carries aren't even carries anymore, and they're not doing anything, and that's why I find that comment funny.
Yeah, I don't feel as the AD carry that I'm swinging games nearly as often as I was before because there's more gold into this game than there was previously. It feels much more like a team game than it has in the past.
Yep.
And it depends on. There are some characters that I can play. Like I feel like I'm making a bigger impact if I'm a Fed J4 or a Fed Jax or really a Fed top lane or mid. I feel like I'm making a bigger impact than I do as a Fed AD carry.
Because
AD
making a bigger
carry is
impact
so
as a Fed
squishy.
Jax than any other champion in the game.
That's the thing. I don't feel this season more than any other time in the game. I don't feel powerful on an AD carry at all until I'm 5 or 6 items in and it's really late in the game and I can finally fuck up anybody that tries to go toe to toe with me as long as I'm not stunned.
I think the power curve on marksman is a bit too steep right now, and they're going to need to figure out a way to normalize that a bit right now, because I don't mind mid laners being like so much better in the early and mid game stages and everything, but if you, I mean, even despite the fact that so many top laners have to really get in harm's way to do a lot of their top laner things, you know what I mean, they're still just immensely powerful, and it usually takes like 3 people making a concerted effort to get that person out of the fight, and that's kind of overwhelming as a player of not top lane.
There are certain carries, though, that you feel really impactful, and that's not a word, but you feel really good on, and that you're carrying, like Jinx, for example, Twitch, because just the abilities, the way they work. It's like, okay, I got it because I got the flame
Because they
jumper,
have
I got that
innate
long range zap.
Well, Twitch is
And
also
I-
in a spot right now
I got him
that
with my ultimate,
he's a really good duelist with Blade of the Rune King, just like Vayne was. And then if you are really ahead on him and everybody else on the enemy team is behind and you press R, they all fall over.
Well, the big
Right.
thing about
He's a really
Twitch
good.
is
He's a really good
submarine.
duelist. It turns out he's also a really good team fighter.
Yeah.
Twitch is a really good
Right.
duelist, unlike Vayne. Well, I mean, Vayne is a duelist, but Twitch is better because he's better those first 3 levels
Yep.
where Vayne sucks because Twitch's kit allows you to trade because you're doing passive damage if you hit them with one auto
he has
Trades
the
are-
early
are
burst potential
immense.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like a jungler's best friend in the fact that if you can stack just a couple hits on them, you can usually finish them with expunge if the jungler keeps going.
It's all about the instant damage and expunge. Unlike Vayne, where you have to get 3 auto attacks off to do a burst of damage,
Right.
you just have to get 2 auto attacks off on Twitch to do some, not a comparable burst of damage, but to be able to do some type of burst damage. There is that potential
Might
there
be-
to be finish it off.
Actually, it's probably higher burst damage
It is.
And you
You
know
just
what?
have
In
to
the
be
early- in the early
within
game.
range.
since Vayne's is max health based.
Well, I guess you get all 3 stacks no matter what with W. As long as you land that W, you get 3 stacks of his poison. So
Yeah.
And you know what? To Markin's question here, I play a lot of Leona, and I feel like I'm really influencing the game on her because she does so much. Her crowd control can make or break the team fight.
Well, that
Especially
and
with good
now,
ult.
now
You
that
can
she
take
has
people
gold,
on.
she can be way tankier than she's been able to be in the past too.
Right.
So
And I assume Braum is a similar feeling because, wow, I just saved him with my stand behind me, or I jumped in, got the concussive blow stacks, they got the stun, and because of that, I turned the fight. So, yeah, support, you do get that feeling that you're turning the tides. You know, a lot of
A good
Leona
support
plays,
carries
I'll
a-
see that Leona typed in all chat because the stun is what set it up. you
a
know,
good
so.
support carries a bad 80 carry. Even a good 80 carry. A good support carries an 80 carry because the support is setting it up or blocking damage or whatever it may be. The support is taking the brunt
they
of
control the
everything.
pace of the lane, and we've talked about this time and again throughout however many episodes we've done now.
160.
Yeah, it's support is the person who carries bot lane more than the AD carry. That being said, you need your AD carry to follow up on stuff to make things happen.
Right.
It's just they have so much more potential in that lane early than the AD carry does. That being said,
I don't know. It's a two-way street. Like a good support can carry a bad 80 carry and everything, but like if you're like it's really easy if you're not on the same wavelength. It doesn't matter how good the AD or support are as individuals. If the two of you are not on the same wavelength, and I've played with guys who are like good players otherwise, but we just couldn't get on the same wavelength, it's totally going to ruin you because I might engage when they want to just last hit and they don't think it's a good time to engage. Well, if they don't back me up, I'm screwed. I'm just left out to dry, and then we end up getting zoned, or I die and then we're zoned, or
Yeah, I know what you mean about that wavelength. When
it's
you're
a
off
really
kilter.
it's a really difficult thing to do, and it's really difficult when you go into solo queue because you don't know
Oh,
what
yeah.
this marksman's going to be like.
Like I'll ping
you
going
really
with
have no
Zenith,
idea.
and the marksman's trying to finish one last CS, or he's happened to be backing away a few steps, and he can't do anything during the stun period. You're off by just that little amount, and that's huge. I as an AD carry, you do feel like you're making more of an impact when you're pushing objectives, because they're the ones that are going to take the towers down. They're the ones that are going to help damage the dragon so your jungler can kill it. So that's where you gotta gauge your usefulness. Get those few hits on the turret. Go to the dragon when the jungler's gonna do it, and get your hits on there and kill it real quick before they get there, because you're the one doing all the damage to it. So, and just keep getting your CS until, like, what was it Sean was saying, you don't feel really that useful until you get those couple big items. Is that a hookah?
That's all I want to do right now. I just saw it was over there. I was like,
The hell is that thing?
that right there? That's a hookah. That thing's huge.
I've
One of our-
smoked a
One
lot
our
out of that.
listeners- you know, I've been smoking all weekend. One of our listeners is gonna yell at us because he says it's hookah and not hookah.
Hookah.
But I've never heard anyone call it hookah before.
Is that listener Indian?
No. He just says he hangs around a lot of Indians.
Oh, because if he was, I'd say he's right. Sorry.
No. Thanks, Markin, for writing in. That's a fantastic question. I'm skipping Volcano Techie's question this time, and I'm going on to Luke. Actually, 'cause
Volcano Techie's got a lot of them in here.
Yeah.
What a hero. Thanks for writing in, Volcano Techie. We'll get to you eventually.
Side note, Dom, we need to sit down tomorrow. Well, we
No,
won't be able to tomorrow.
That's not happening. We're not doing that.
No, we won't be able to because GG Chronicle launches tomorrow. I'll talk to you about it tomorrow. Never mind. All right. Luke writes in, I don't seem to see many full-on tanks with CC these days. What? Are they just too easy to counter unless a part of their kit becomes too overpowered to work around?
I think he means he doesn't see a lot of people playing
Like Malphite?
a
Tanky
Mumu, Sejuani, Zach.
Zach in the
Don't get
top
me started on
lane.
Sejuani.
Because they
I had a good weekend with her.
That's fine and dandy.
I'm gonna check rates now. I just gotta. It might be small sample here.
I can have I'm kind of in the same boat. I think Zach in the top lane is still great for solo queue, and Sejuani can be great for solo queue, but outside of that, not so great. But with that said, if you're thinking about people that don't do a lot of damage yet have a lot of CC, it's because they don't do a lot of damage and they can't really push a lane back against characters who do a lot of damage or hyper carry. Like, you're not going to put a Zac into a Jax because Jax is just going to end up 3v1ing their jungler or the jungler mid and support in the jungle.
I mean, I'm sorry, we gotta include Leona in this conversation here. She's a full-on tank with a ton of
tank with
CC.
CC, and she's played a lot.
You're not going to do anything other than tank with Leona, and she is in the top 5 most picked champions.
No,
Right.
again, I think this is more of like a picked in top lane
I think junglers
and
and
jungle
tops.
situation. But
Right.
I mean, again, we're sure we don't see as much CC out of the top lane, but we still see people like Renekton who have a decent CC and a lot of damage early, at least.
Well, we see people on the top lane that have one form of CC
Right.
or a form of engage.
And then, but you're always seeing supports that have a shitload of CC and can, like, all of their abilities have CC, and it kind of offsets that in a way.
Yeah. You were saying Sedge is good for solo queue, but not anything else. I disagree.
Not
because you set her up for a wombo.
Let's not get into the Sejuani conversation.
I'm
because
ready to argue with you right now.
I know you are, but I'm not going to do it this episode because it's not worth our time to argue about Sejuani right now.
Or Nautilus.
I thought we came back
right?
to the thing where we weren't going to talk about Sejuani anymore on this podcast since we tooted her horn.
I'm going to keep bringing her up.
I know this, and I'm going to keep shooting you down as the host of this podcast.
STFU.
For what it's worth, just based like looking at the numbers here, Amumu's at about a 9% pick rate, which is basically league average, and he's the second winningest champion in this game. So
I really don't have a problem with. I mean, I know I've talked ill of Sejuani in the past or moving whatever it be. I don't really have a problem with it if you're playing casuals, but like if you're in, this goes again with the high elo ranked 5s. Sejuani might not be what you want to pick because you never know if the team that you're playing against
Depends who your top lane champion is.
What it does. I'll give it credit. We played against Sejuani yesterday. That shit on her face. Not the Sejuani by ganking or anything.
The combo.
They had Ryze, Morgana, Ezreal, Sejuani, Kassadin. Who do you catch on that team? Nobody. And the only time that we had it set up perfectly, we had a 4-man Lulu ult, and Sejuani 4-man ulted us, and ulted our Yasuo.
I was about to say, they catch one of you out of position, and that one person's going to be locked down until they're
They did
exploded.
a fantastic job. We did a bad job. We did a 4v1 lane swap, and we pushed on the first turret, and then we rotated, but I think we lost. We died bottom lane, and that's where it starts swinging it. But that's one of those things, if you're going to do those 4-man pushes, and that's where Sejuani doesn't do so well.
That's a different story. Yeah, 4-man.
You have to play, right.
And she's counterable. Like, a lot of the tank junglers are easily countered, especially with the Feral Flare junglers coming into popularity, even though they're kind of coming out a little bit, but still, they can counter jungle your ass real easy as a tank jungler. So
just worth noting again, I mean, in Platinum, Amumu's at a 7.39% pick rate. It's not, and that's
like nothing.
No,
it's about a little under.
I mean, for
average,
Platinum,
right?
if you consider that there are still, like 120 champions or whatever that get picked across now a smaller effective player base.
Sure.
It actually makes sense that it would be lower.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah, okay.
So it's there, but I think the popularity of the carry junglers is a little bit higher right now. So
Wriggle's lane, I wanted to point I wanted to make this point. This kind of goes into the whole Feral Flare discussion. I know we spent 2 podcasts on it, but I want to point out that Madrid's Blood Razor, not Madrid's
Razors.
Madrid's Razor. I always call it Blood Razor. Madrid's Razor does stack on kills or assists right now. So if you upgrade it to Madrid's and sit on Madrid's, you do gain stacks on kills or assists. Yes.
I thought that was just the Wriggles.
We tested it this weekend.
And this definitely worked out. I don't remember who the hell I was playing. I was playing Nocturne. And I was getting counter jungled pretty hard, but I was also pretty fed from ganking all the time. And when I finally converted to a Wriggles, I had way more stacks than I should have had for somebody who was being counter jungled.
And sorry,
Okay,
in the
that's how
chat,
you
wish
kn-
me luck. Pharaoh Flare does not suck now. Pharaoh Flare is not just as good. Pharaoh Flare is good and where it should be right now because no
It's-
longer against that stacking heal.
Yeah, and
I think it's in a
the
good space.
perception that it sucks is because it was so strong, but it was overtuned before.
Exactly.
For
Like,
certain
that's why
champ-
people
like-
think it's bad.
Like
And I
Master
mean-
Yi, for example, that stacking heal was insane because you never
Yeah.
fucking die. Now he's where he should be. I agree with Adam on that one. for
It's
once.
one of those things where like if let's go with the example of the spirit lizard items or a bunch of pistols. The feral flare was like a grenade launcher, and now that you finally reined it in, yeah, people are sad that they're
Yeah, it
shooting
sucks-
the same
sucks to be
pea shooter
using the
that they were
pistols.
before. Yeah,
You really have to look
But-
at it and how well the other items stack up to it. It was fucking fantastic. Now it's just good.
yeah,
And-
it's more
darn.
in line.
Oh darn, yeah, right. Oh darn, my Xin Zhao can clear the jungle a little more quickly with Madrid and still stack it and come
The
into the game
thing
doing more
is-
But
damage.
it's still the only item, the only jungle item that continues to make you better and better and better as the game keeps going on.
right.
It's a snowball item. So
It makes you
It's just-
better.
it has its pick- it has its place.
It's a well executed snowball item, as
It has
opposed
its
to items like Mijai's
Oh,
or
Sword of the
the Occult.
Yeah.
Like where,
bad.
I mean, you buy one of those and that's a target on your head.
Congratulations, you have 8
or-
more AP. You have 8 AP right
And you're
now with your
moving
8 stacks.
you have 5 more movement.
But yeah, I don't want to spend a ton of time on Pharaoh Flare. The consensus of the podcast is Pharaoh Flare is balanced. It's still a good item. It's not must pick anymore. And if you disagree, you're wrong and you should feel bad because you're bad.
Hey, that's Sean's line.
Yeah, that's where I come in. You're bad and you should feel bad.
When's that shirt getting made, by the way?
Yeah, really. I want to see
I-
that shirt. I'd buy one.
You're bad and you should
bad
feel
and you
bad.
should feel bad.
Oh, I'll buy that right now.
I love you, Sean.
Thanks.
Just have
man.
like a drawing of Sean's face, like a silhouette type thing.
I
and
want
then
one like the
it's
Skyids. Have you
bubble.
seen the Skyids Twitter live
Yeah,
tweet Twitter
yeah.
icon? I want Chira's face with the big mouth yelling, "You're bad and you should feel bad."
Do something
I
like this.
will. If you get that set up, I will buy it on the spot.
I'll pay for it. I mean, we have a giant donation that just came in, so I'm going to pay for it. I will make you
Did it
do
confirm? Did it come in?
Yeah, yeah.
Can
I'm
we
not,
thank
I'm
you
not
for it?
talking about it yet. I'm waiting some
Oh.
time to talk about it because of reasons.
Because I can't even handle that.
Yeah.
Reasons.
All right.
That's
so,
Dom's line.
all right. Is this eHarmony, right? At least Sean caught it. Is this eHarmony? I love this guy's name. Like, this is better than GPRI feed.
Yes, it is. And this is where you'll find your perfect match.
With
In
the Trinity
matchmaking.
Force podcast. I recently played Zed into Renekton top lane and found it pretty successful. Do you think this could be a legitimately good counter pick for Renekton, given that
That is Shies.
given that it shies away from tanky bruisers top meta? Would you expect it to ever see something like this in the LCS with an actual good Zed player?
As long
The
as your
thing-
jungler picks Sejuani to fill that tank role, you're fine. You
Come
can do
full
it.
circle.
You need a front line still, though.
That being said, this comes into the thing that Zed is really good at laning, in the fact that he can continue to farm even if he can't actually get to the minion waves, just between his living shadow, his Q, his E, everything like that. It's really easy to farm on Zed. I could see why that would be really great in a Renekton. Do I see him absolutely dominating Renekton by killing him? Probably not.
I still feel like
he's too squishy to go
Well,
into Renekton.
and-
it seems
that's-
like the
that's the
things
thing.
Renekton does and is good. The things Renekton's gonna want to do, Zed can't really stop that. Like Zed's
Right.
not gonna handle the type of pushing power that Renekton brings in the early game.
The heal,
And
the
so-
stun, the
Yeah.
armor, the shred.
And so
whatever it may
Zed's
be.
gonna get stuck under the tower, and while he won't die because he's got great escape tools, he's got great murder power, all that type of thing. Renekton doesn't care. Renekton's gonna push the wave and then get the fuck out of there and go ruin someone else's day because he's a giant crocodile monster.
And
Now-
he's probably going to be better in fights for objectives such as dragon invades and things like that
Yeah,
too.
you're
So-
I mean,
not
you
gonna-
hit a
Now, that's
You-
not to say that Zed can't beat Renekton if you're the better player.
Right, absolutely, 100%, absolutely. There's, I mean, I want to say that we should start every discussion with, if you're a better player, this could happen. Kind of like the Nasus
mean,
and
if-
the Jax argument.
but,
Nasus
okay,
could beat a Jax if they're a
say-
way better player.
as be that as it may be, if you you are on the equal playing field as the guy across the lane from you, I
Renekton's
still see
fine.
that Renekton bullying out Zed in that case.
You
And
have
so-
to keep in mind, though, sorry, Dom, that Zed is not going to take teleport. It's not advantageous for Zed to ever have teleport because he needs that extra damage off
Right.
the ignite for the pop of his ult.
Right.
And it's too good to have teleport as the island lane.
And
I mean,
then,
so
Renekton can just go wherever the fuck he wants after that.
this is a good situation. I want to caution all people from reading too much into a small sample. Winning one weird matchup like this is really not indicative of a ton of long-term success in that same type of matchup. It's great that you won, but it's likely that you were the better player here because realistically, Renekton should have been doing a lot better. Maybe you found, I mean, in regards to other cases in the future, maybe it's a case where you really did find just a secret, really good matchup that goes in, in favor of one champion or the other. But
Maybe your
by and
jungler
large,
camped your lane.
or it's like, if you run double bruiser bottom lane and it's great one time or great 10 times, don't read too much into that because it's likely you were just playing against people who who were so unprepared that they just simply couldn't handle what was going on there.
Mm.
And as you climb the ladder, you are going to start playing against people who know how to deal with that situation and know how to deal with the curveball that gets thrown at them for all intents and purposes.
Right.
And like that's
Right.
that's when you start to
Then
see
you're gonna
things
have
even
trouble.
out, and your shock value pick, your really off base pick might not suddenly seem so favorable.
If
That's
I'm
not to say it can't
playing-
work, but
If I'm playing Renekton into Zed, I'm going to be full aggro the entire time. From level 1, I'm going to be auto attack trading with him and gaining my life back with those Q50 raids. Like, that's just, coming from a seasoned Renekton player. And when I hit level 2, I'm going all in on this guy. And I'm pushing him out of lane. Like, you have to be wary of that. Maybe the Renekton that you played against, like Dom said, isn't that great? Going back to Dom's
Or was
point. and
timid,
I'm gonna,
getting hit with your
I really
harass.
want to push into Dom's point here. I've been playing J4 top lane. I've played against 2 matchups. So we played against a Pantheon and a Lee Sin. And I did well against one, and I even farmed against the other. That doesn't make J4 top good or bad right now. It's just 2 matchups that I saw that aren't normal. Now, if I play against Renekton, Shyvana, or whatever, I can tell you how I think the matchup is going to go, but I won't know until I play a bronze and a diamond level player of how this matchup is really going to play. So you need to play 10, 20, 50 games before you can say champion's good.
The more games,
And we
the more
encourage you to do
accurate.
it. Whether we're saying the odds aren't in your favor in this particular champion matchup, but if you are really your heart is set on playing Zed, whatever lane you want to. I had the similar thing with Pantheon and Moth, but
I mean,
you have that.
That's really
then
the thing here. So
you can build
if you're
for it.
doing, if it's a small sample and you've been successful, sooner or later you're going to reach a point where it is no longer like you're not winning because of the weird champion pick. You are winning because you are proficient with that champion, and so long as you have that type of proficiency, you are going to be able to at least like stay even with your opponent despite the unfavorable matchup. And then if you go up against an unskilled player or a player who happens to be on a champion he or she's
You'll
not
stomp.
comfortable with or is in a role he or she's not used to doing, you are going to be more successful there. But
on the other side,
at that point, it's proficiency and not a strict even plateau. Just like
and
a
that's-
strict
that's
matchup game.
the curve. On the other point, Renekton is the top god of top lane. So if you're
It's the
consistently
Renekton
beating him, that's
curve,
good
or whatever
gauge
they
for the
call.
top lane. So he's just top lane god still.
He is the standard.
Yeah, if you can beat Renekton, then you can do well in the top lane. But like Dominic said, on a consistent basis, or
How many Renektons
you're
can you
skill- yeah.
beat? Out of 10 Renektons,
and
how
how
many
many
can
times
you
are
beat
the
with Zed?
Renekton's going to be queued against you? So you can't really have a solid number without playing a whole shit ton of games.
It's funny, we've been seeing a lot less Renekton recently than we have in the past. He's kind of...
We have
because of Jax. He's kind of on his way
Irelia.
out. And
Jax.
Rise pushes out Renekton, and you have Lissandra to beat Jax, and yada yada, whatever it may be. So, switching gears or topics real quick. To Claude, if you shaved your beard and left your mustache and shaved your head, you would look almost exactly like Braum.
I saw that in Twitch chat. Oznog was mentioning
Was he?
he put it in steps. Phase 1, shave your beard and head. Phase 2, grow a killer mustache. Phase 3, be Braum.
You
Well,
just need giant eyebrows and a physique like a bodybuilder. But
my head's too egg shaped though. I'm not as round as Braum. He's got the more
You know,
more round
if
head.
you ate like 4,000 calories a day and started weightlifting every day for the next like 6 months, you might get the bigger like jawline.
The head
and
might
everything.
come around. Yeah, yeah. I'll chew. I'll do chewing exercises. How's that
Yeah,
sound?
right.
I'll get real tough meat.
chew all of the gum.
I think you've done this incorrectly because Brahm is already released and you don't look like him.
Yeah, it's a little too late.
Would your wife kill you if you shaved your head?
No, but I don't know if she'd
You'd have
be
to get
happy
a
with it.
sick accent too.
You never
Pull it
know.
all
Can you
together.
do it?
She loves me no matter what I look like.
Oh, that's the cutest. I'm gonna take a drink. Can we? We're
Do we want to do this one by Tom?
We're 4 minutes out from ending this podcast, so let's finish it.
Do we
Tom,
want, do,
is this
If-
the Tom
Yeah,
we
no,
know?
answer it. Yeah, let's do the question. That's what I mean. Yeah, let's do the
oh,
question.
okay. Go ahead. Read it.
I don't have it up. Go.
What is
Oh.
your favorite champion in each role? Outside of each role's holy trinity. Examples: Thresh, Annie, Leona for support,
Gangplank!
I stop, etc., etc. So
Yeah,
favorite
Alistar.
champion in each role.
Gangplank.
On the outside the norm though.
Alistar.
Alistar's-
You're right.
She's
He is outside the norm. There you go.
So,
I
are
gotta-
you just
I
saying
gotta-
Alistair for everything?
Yeah, Alistar, all 5 rolls.
AP,
he
GP
could be
mid.
Oh God,
AD,
GP top.
No, this is so. I played GP the other day. This is funny because I played against Shyvana, and Dur Auslander always watches me if I'm playing because he doesn't really play the game. He just logs on and spectates. And he messaged me, he goes, "At 9 minutes, you were up 450 gold." And I'm like, "Yeah, GP."
Did you have an
Avarice
Avarice
GP.
blade? Because that'd
Yeah,
be cheating.
I did.
Okay, then that doesn't count.
What?
Get out.
The marksman I always play is actually Quinn for whatever reason. Like she's always if I get stuck playing the role for some reason, she's the one I always go to.
Yeah, and that's.
She
That's
might
definitely how
she might be my favorite.
I always went with Graves, but now he's
Kinda
popular
sad.
again, so I can't pick him anymore.
I kind of think Quinn would be good with Braum. Didn't I say
bet
that
she
before?
would be.
We say that a lot. I think you and I just really want Quinn to be good because
Yeah.
we know she's not good.
Yeah.
I think Quinn would be
Can
good
play
top
mid.
if you have the Braum Leona combo bottom. That way you still have a
Mid.
marksman in the equation for later
Quinn
in the game.
mid. Quinn mid. That's
Quinn
better.
mid works just because she can roam so easily with her ult. I've seen it work numerous times by people who play
Chira.
Quinn very well.
Chira. Chira!
What's up,
What's
baby?
your favorite champion?
for
Outside of
all
the norm.
lanes, top lane, Olaf, jungle, probably
Udyr.
still Elise
Udyr.
or Udyr. Either are good. I actually
Elise
really
is
like
hot,
Zoc.
though. She's fully
I like Zach top lane a lot
Zoc.
too.
I like
Zoc.
your
Uh,
Udyr.
Yeah, I like my
Yeah.
Udyr too, baby. And it's half. The only reason I started playing Udyr was
we
because
go
Dom
play?
gave me a really, really nice skin.
Did you know that Volley really hates Udyr's right to bear arms?
They
Claude.
both have bear arms.
We already
Right.
know what the Claude's outside of the meta
My-
champions are.
I don't know. I got to really think hard about
Okay,
these.
I'm gonna- I'm gonna
Sejuani.
keep
I can
going
answer the Claude. I can
with
answer the
this.
Claude.
Volibear,
Mid lane,
Malzahar, Sejuani, and then the
Diana,
bottom.
Diana Jungle,
I like-
Sejuani,
support.
Malzahar, Volibear.
Lysandra mid, Corky 80 carry, and Maokai support. Fuck it. let's
Fuck
do
it,
this.
guys. Thank you guys for listening to episode number 160 of the Trinity Force podcast. This is how we go out on a normal weekday. Guys, continue to listen to the podcast because we are going to bring an extra half an hour to an hour of podcast within the next week to 2 weeks. We're going to be doing a listener question type of thing. So some of you guys will write in and answer us, give us questions, and we can't answer them on the podcast, and we can't get to them in email because we are very busy. So we're going to try to answer them with the extra time that we have. So with that said, please go check out the Victorious Gaming website, tinyurl.com/T-Force tournament. Please go sign up for the May 22nd tournament to win
I'll be
3,200 in RP. DeClaude will be playing. I'll be shoutcasting with Greg. Chira Jaden will either be
Embarrass
playing
me.
or shoutcasting. Astrodician and Badger will be playing. Dominic will be shoutcasting or playing. I don't know what these guys plan on doing, but all of us will be in the tournament somehow, some way, whatever it may be. So guys, thanks again for listening to episode number 160. Everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
We love you.
Goodbye.
Peace.
See ya.
Okay, go for it. Talk. Oh, wait, they can hear me. Bye, guys.